I've started a program called Wireshark, and Wireshark is able to tell me about packets that it sees goes across the interfaces of my machine. Specifically, I'm going to pick the loopback interface because we are connecting to our server using DIG on the loopback device. And I'm going to ask Shark to filter to UDP connections where the UDP port is 5678. Once I have that in place, my server is still running. I go back to my terminal and I run the dig command again. And I'll just stop it right away, but dig sent a UDP packet to our server, and Wireshark noticed. It noticed that there was one that went over 127. And in this packet, we can see some of the data that we saw before. We see a first couple of bytes that corresponds to an ID made up every time, a 1 here for the recursion desired bit, some other flags, and then we have 1 question, 0 answers, and so on. Wireshark thinks this is a malformed MNDP packet. That's just because it doesn't know that we're using 5678 for a DNS request. So if I right-click or control-click on that line that we're looking at, and I pick Decode As and change current to DNS, now when I go back, Wireshark tells me that it's a DNS query. And if I turn down the arrow here, it can parse these numbers into a more readable format for me. It sees that the ID is CE93, just like we saw. This flag 1 has been decoded into various flags here, which we can look at, and it says the 1 here is the recursion desired flag. And it turns out that the 20 that corresponded to a bit being set for AD. And it tells us there's 1 question, 1 additional resource record. If we look at the question part, we see that it's able to decode that name www.cs.utah.edu. When I moused over this, or when I click on this, you can see that Wireshark over here on the right highlights the bytes that correspond to that part of the query. So we see that 3 with 3 number patterns and 2 with 2 numbers and 4 with 4 number patterns that we noticed. Wireshark can decode that for us. So Wireshark is going to be a very useful tool for you as you write your own DNS server. You can look at the packets that are sent to your server and the replies that your server sends back using Wireshark.